Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about something that has been on my mind recently, and this is pertaining to the view of disability in society. Now, I am wanting to talk more openly about my disability on this channel, but I won't do it like I do my book reviews, mainly because I don't want you to find it grating. I don't want to unload all this frequently. It may be one video every couple of months or something, but I really want to talk about, and these, especially the ones where I get into what my disabilities are, need a lot of time to be researched and just understood a bit so I can sort of put it in a video. This video will focus on something that has been annoying me ever since I basically became aware of having a disability, and just the constant brick wall effect that society has towards people like me. With that said, I think of disability on a spectrum. You have the people where if you look at them on the street, you probably can't tell that there's something going on, but there's something going on, to the people who are severely affected by it. So I'm straight in the middle, from afar you might see me, but as I come up closer, it becomes more apparent that I've got a limp, and it's just, that's how I sort of, and the one actually that I want to talk about today is they're disabled but they still can sentence. One, I acknowledge that for a person who does not live with a disability, the idea of being disabled is very confronting and might sort of cause a bit of worry. And I understand that you are not familiar with it, you do not know what experiences we've got, but I don't like how the focus is on, she is disabled, but my disability is not the key facet of myself. I am made up of more moving parts than just this inorganic thing that chose me as its host. And whether or not my accomplishments are validated by that, it shouldn't be. My accomplishments are not because I'm disabled, my accomplishments are because I've done them. I am not a disabled person who has got certificates, I'm a person who's got certificates who happens to be disabled. Taking that out of that equation gives me more power. Because yes, I am disabled and I acknowledge that, but it's not the only facet that I identify with. I identify with many things. I identify being very studious and very focused on my studies when I can be. I identify being a reader and being someone who loves books. But I'm not a disabled person who loves books, I'm just a person. And when we change the way we write about people like that, she accomplished so much in spite of having blah 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 blah, I think that makes it a lot better because you're focusing more on the accomplishment than the fact that there might be something wrong with this person. Secondly, I understand that, yet again, it's confronting to think about having a disability, but it's not the worst thing in the fucking world. It is not the end of the world. You can still live a really full life if you have a disability, and I don't understand this attitude that we're all just sitting around our houses moping about the fact that we have a disability, because most people do not. They get up, they might have to fight a little bit in the morning to get themselves up and ready, but they get out in the world and they push on against this glass fucking brick ceiling we have to go through just to make ourselves get through the day. The amount of times that I have lain in bed and feeling sorry for myself outside of when I was a kid, and this thing was just so stressful and so overwhelming that I just didn't want to do anything, I can count them on one hand, because I know that I have to get up and get shit done because I do not live for the disability, I live in spite of the disability. The fact that people think that having a disability is the worst thing, I can't process that, because I have to live with it. And I understand it's confronting. I understand that I live differently than some other people, but it's no different when I go down to the shops and go grab groceries than you. It's no different when I do work for people. It's no different, no different. The only thing is that I might have to take my time and might have to ask for help, or you might not have to ask for help, but besides that, I'm perfectly capable of doing everything in spite of what I've got. And yes, I acknowledge that I have gone through a period where I was like, woe is me, I'm not going to do anything because I'm just destined to be this disabled wreck of a person. But we all go through that because it's a very emotional thing. Your emotions are tied to how you perceive yourself. And if you perceive yourself as not a person, but just a statistic, like I did, like I went through a massive time in my life where this thing just overwhelmed and took up most of my emotional time and just made me feel like shit. I acknowledge that it would take a while for someone to pull themselves up and get out of that. But once you get out of this, woe is me, I'm disabled, I can't do anything, to, hey, I can do this even despite of myself with these conditions, that moment you are so empowered about it. And it pains me to see stories where people with disability have done great things and the line is, she's disabled, but I am not an inspiration to anyone. I am not here to make you feel better about the fact that you have working legs. I am a human. I have more working parts than being a disabled person, and I live with it. It's not a part of me. It's not the whole of me. I live with something that's inorganic and that is just one facet of my entire being. And yes, I don't expect people to understand all of it, but if you can just view people not as people with not a disabled person, but people living with disabilities, the world would be a lot better because we could focus more on what makes a person, their personality, their soul and their heart, not the fact they've got damaged legs and glasses. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you guys next week. Bye guys.